business presentation etiquette. And the first thing I want to talk about the presenter. Okay. Now, I think it's critical that you keep the best presenter up in front of the room. All right. Don't put somebody up in front of the room to practice on somebody else's prospect. If you want to be in front of the room, practice, practice, practice. I get a lot of compliments about the business presentation that I do, and I appreciate that, but it's not just me in the presentation. I'm going to get to that point in just a second, but I study the business presentation, okay? And I listen to, I'll record it, and then I'll listen to it over and over and over and over again, and then I make certain tweaks to it. So it's one of those things, you guys, where you should be able to do the business presentation without using any slides, because you're going to do a lot of one-on-ones and two-on-ones, and you're going to do a lot of conference calls, and you don't use, or three-way calls, I should say, and you're not going to use slides during those things, but mentally you're walking through the slides as you talk to your prospect. Now, some of you are like, Steve, I don't even know where to get the slides. Well, you can get the slides in the back office or get them from me. All right, just if you guys want the slides, I'll email them to you. Just let me know. Let me know if you want PowerPoint or Keynote, and I'll send the slides over to you. The same slides that we use on our Tuesday presentations. Now, the presenter should be dynamic. The presenter should be enthusiastic and have a good track record of success. The presenter should study and master the business presentation. The presenter should have a closer's mentality to help move the prospects to becoming a member. When I close the business presentations on Tuesday nights, I'm always telling them, I said, the next step is this. Do you know 3 people that would be interested in using the patches? Do you know 3 people who would be interested in making money? If the answer is yes, then you need to get started with us. And we walk through the $50 and go through the kits and everything, but move them to the next step, which the next step is them making a decision to get involved as a customer or as an associate. Now, the presenter also needs to keep the meeting simple and never complicated. Guys, we have something here that's really complicated. And, when you talk about neuroscience, the beauty of what we do is that we can make this sound so simple. None of us are going to be neuroscientists, which makes it a lot easier for us. And so we can kind of dumb it down a little bit. And you guys, how I dumb it down is exactly what Jay did to me. Jay said, close your eyes and hold out your hand. He put a pen in my hand. He said, what's in your hand? I said, it's a pen. He goes, how do you know? Your eyes are closed. How do you know? I said, Jay, because I know what a pen feels like. He said, that's how the technology works. It's like, it can be that simple, you guys. So we're going to make it really, really simple. The presenter needs to present in a conversation style. You're not reading the presentation. You're just having an easy, pleasant conversation, easy, pleasant delivery. It should be like you're giving a one-on-one presentation to the entire group. And I hope you guys feel that way on Tuesday nights. I feel like I'm just having a conversation with one person on Tuesday nights when there's actually, 80 to 100 people there. The presenter needs to show the big potential. People want to see the big picture. And that's why I added the slides at the end where I talk about the compensation plan in a little bit more detail. But the presentation, okay, has to be built around these things. Number one, the prospect has to know that they can do it, that there's big money that can be made, that you are working with a good group of people, and it's way bigger. It's way bigger than they think it is. All right? Send the message loud and clear, okay? But make people feel good about themselves. Make them feel special. Make them feel like they're part of the meeting. Now, in a live presentation, I would say, make sure you make eye contact with the presenter, because it makes it so much easier for the person up in front of the room when they know that people are paying attention. Now, on a Zoom presentation, it's the same way. You guys, it is so distracting on a Zoom presentation when I see people's cameras moving all over the place, or you're walking from one room to another. If you're doing that, turn off your camera. Don't eat anything. Don't multitask. Don't make dinner while the Zoom is being played. And if you're doing all of that, just make sure your camera is off. But your prospect, Your prospect is going to be looking at you. And your prospect's going to go, well, if they're not that interested in this thing, why should I be that interested? So, guys, it's 30 minutes. Just get in an area that has good lighting. We don't need to see your ceiling or your floor. Get in good lighting where you can see yourself on the screen. You know exactly where you are. Line yourself up on the screen and be a part of the presentation for 30 minutes or whatever. Hopefully it's 30 minutes. And that's my next point is we got to start our meetings on time. We have to end our meetings on time. I'm talking about Zooms and I'm talking about any presentation. The group presentations. If the meeting starts at 7:30, start it at 7:30. Why? Because it's not fair to the people who were there on time. We've got to be professional. End your meeting on time. The meeting really doesn't start, okay, until the person up in front of the room stops talking. Right? That's when the meeting starts because nobody is enrolling while the person is still talking. And sometimes I feel that way on the Zooms. I'm like, okay, Steve, stop talking. Get to the point. Get to the testimonials. Let's wrap this thing up. And then you guys have time to close your prospects. The business presentation, I've always said this, you guys, I think it's the right number. 35 minutes max. 35 minutes max. If you tell your prospect that the presentation is going to take an hour, and the speaker speaks for an hour, well, then you don't have any time to close them, okay? Because your speaker's like, hey, you told me this is going to be an hour. I got to go. I told the babysitter I'd be home in an hour. I got to go, okay? So the presentation, 30 to 35 minutes, and then you've got that 25 to 30 minutes to answer questions and get your person enrolled. Now, the audience, okay? Be a part of the cast. I always say that the audience plays as big a role in the presentation as the person up in front of the room. And guys, you've got to be, whether it's on a Zoom or whether it's live, okay? And listen, even if it's a 2-on-1, if you're sitting there with your guest and you have somebody else doing the presentation, pay attention, not at the good points and things like that, but you must pretend that this is the very first time that you've ever heard this presentation. Be very attentive. Sit on the edge of your seat. Laugh at the same stupid jokes. Guys, when I say those stupid jokes that I do on Tuesday nights, even though you're muted, you can still laugh. And you're like, okay, here's that stupid thing that Steve says about being a hot mess. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Oh, really funny, Steve. All right, because people are watching you. People are absolutely watching you. Smile. And like I said, be enthusiastic. Now, common sense stuff. Make sure your cell phones are turned to vibrate. I'm not going to say turn them off because we've got emergency situations, things like that. That's fine. So make sure your cell phones are on vibrate. Remain seated. Okay. There's no reason to leave. It's 30 minutes. If you have to use the restroom, please do it before the presentation starts. No distractions to the presenter. Don't bring up anything negative at a business presentation, and you fill the front rows first. And so if you're doing a live meeting somewhere, it's like somehow, some way, figure it out where you're going to fill the front rows first. You don't want people just scattered all over the place. Now, in a large group, hotel type setting or a conference center type setting, guys, this is a team effort. Okay, this presentation is absolutely a team effort, and everybody on the team plays a role. And what I'm going through with you guys right now is just the bullet points. I mean, we could do an hour training on all of this stuff, but it's always that first impression. When somebody walks in the room needs to be set up already. You don't need to be testing the mics. You don't want to be plugging in the electronic equipment and going test 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like, no. People walk in, everything is already set. The music is playing, it's professional, and boom, they start on time. And when I say it's a group effort, there can be specific jobs that you assign people. You've got a registration table. So maybe you've got 2 to 4 people at the registration table that are, signing people in and making sure they get their name tags. You've got greeters that meet people at the door and they direct them to a certain way. There's the registration table. Come on in. Let's grab these seats up front. A chair monitor. Okay, now doesn't that sound weird? A chair monitor. 2 or 3 people that are only responsible for making sure that there are enough chairs. Now, you guys, if you expect 50 people at your meeting, set up 25 chairs. Yep, I said it. set up 25 chairs, but have the other 25 close by so that when those 25 are filled, you can start bringing out other chairs. Why do we do that? Because it creates an excitement. All the people that are already there going, wow, this place is filling up. And you're like, yeah, I know, but I expected 50. Okay, but they don't know that. When you're having to bring more chairs in, it creates an excitement. And then you've got, one or two people that are in charge of the audio visual. People that are just in charge of making sure the music works, the projector works, the TV is set up right, and the PowerPoints or the keynotes are working properly. Now, the team members assigned to the registration table, they're going to welcome people. They're going to get people signed in. They're going to issue name tags. And we always say, red for existing members, blue for prospects. I don't know why we do that. I don't know if that's in stone or anything like that, but make sure that you've got a different color so the person up in front of the room knows who the guests are. The chair monitors, they're going to set these chairs up if they need them. One or two people are going to be responsible for that audio visual equipment. And if everybody does their job, it makes it a really, really smooth presentation, okay? You are training your guests from the minute that you invite them, because they're going to be looking at everything that happens and they're going to sit there and go, okay, this is how this thing works. And they are going to do what you do, okay? Being late is very duplicable. Being late is very duplicable. The energy created is infectious, and your guests need to feed off that energy. Now, I know I went through that really fast, you guys, but like I said, a lot of this is common sense, okay? Keep the best presenters up in front of the room. If you want to be in front of the room, practice, 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 practice. Common sense says that you've got to have energy. You've got to deliver a powerful message. You've got to make people feel good about themselves. And listen, you doing a one-on-one with somebody, all of this applies. You still need to practice, practice, practice the business presentations. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying about these patches? Besides your story, what are you saying about the patches? What are you saying about the income opportunity? Okay, practice, practice, practice. The old joke is, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. And if you deliver a business presentation that tells people that yes, they can do it, yes, there's big money in it, they're going to join you. Because people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And if you're not up in front of the room, you still have to be a part of the cast. Good eye contact, very attentive, sitting on the edge of your seat, laughing at the same stupid jokes. And we do it over and over and over. Remember, success is mundane. Success is boring, all right? Something that we do over and over and over again. Why? Because it works. And if something is working, there's no reason to change it.